If you haven't felt it yet, man, or if you still feel beat down from just the endless insanity of the American left, take a break from that, man, and just look at what's coming for the America First movement, because what's happening right now is very, very different than what happened in 2016. Because, Donald Trump, man, whether you love or hate the guy, you have to recognize, he's not a Washington guy. He's not the Washington insider. He's not a real politician. And he made some pretty remarkable personnel mistakes in 2016 because he didn't know anybody and he didn't know who to trust. And that's exactly how we ended up with disasters like Jeff Sessions and freaking John Bolton and too many others to even list, man. This is not 2016 anymore. Now he knows the place. Now he knows the players. And now it doesn't seem like anyone is playing the game any better than he is.
I didn't really know anybody in Washington. I was a New York person. I wasn't like a Washington, D.C. person. And all of a sudden I'm president and I'm driving down Pennsylvania Avenue with more police and motorcycles and military than I've ever seen before in my life. I said to my wife, do you believe this? I'm president. But I didn't know anybody in Washington. And I had to rely on people to give me names. And many were really good. I mean, Bob Lighthizer, I had great trade people. I had some great people. But I also picked people that, in retrospect, I wouldn't have picked. But now I know the smart ones, the dumb ones, the weak ones, the solid ones, the ones like you. I know the people. I know everybody, sort of like everybody. And we're going to have a great government. I didn't know. I had to rely on people I'd ask, I don't want to use names because I don't want to embarrass. They're not bad people, but I'd ask people that were rhinos, who do you recommend for such and such a position? All important positions. And they'd recommend some people that were rhinos or something, or weak or not good.
You got to remember, man, the left tells you that Donald Trump is some kind of egomaniac, that he's a fool and he's a narcissist and he's basically every bad thing you could possibly be. And it seems pretty clear to me, man, that right here, he's able to admit his past mistakes and better than admit them, learn from them. He's able to learn from those mistakes. And you can't even compare that to the other ruling class politicians, man. I mean, yesterday was the 3-year anniversary of our Afghanistan surrender and the killing of our service members. No one from the administration, not Joe, not Kamala, not anyone, nobody went to the memorial. And they will look you right in the eye and they will tell you what a raging success that it was. It was the largest airlift in history. It was so large that they had to let people ride on the outside of our airplanes. But it's crazy. Those people are the qualified and successful leaders. And Trump's just a crazy egomaniac who doesn't ever think he could be wrong, right? It's remarkable stuff when you look at it, man. And something interesting came out yesterday, right? It's clear, man, Trump is playing to win. And when he does win, he recognizes that who he surrounds himself with, who he allows to help rebuild our government is going to be key. And the rumor is, he plans to rebuild our government from the bottom up and middle out.
The whole enterprise. So my last question, what happens now? You had this kind of amazing announcement with Donald Trump on Friday. It's now Monday, I think, which is 3 days ago. How do you spend from here until Election Day?
I'm going to work to get him elected. And I'm working with the campaign. We're working on policy issues together. I've been asked to go onto the transition team and, to help pick the people who will be running the government. And I'm looking forward to that. And
that's massive, man. It's massive. And it's easy to miss, man, because the machine, they're going to denounce anything that either Tucker or RFK Jr. say it's some sort of extremism, far this or far that or crazy or whatever. But just think about this, man. The left can preach all they want about joy and unity and all the election year buzzwords that mean nothing, but they don't actually believe in it. They're only joyful when you literally pledge complete allegiance to them. And they only think it's unity when you agree with them and when you aid them in all their power-hungry craziness and just do everything they say. That's what they think unity is. But here you have Donald Trump and the guy, this is the guy they say is the most divisive character ever, right? The guy who's going to destroy our country. He promises a bloodbath and he promises to be a dictator. He is the one actually practicing unity, actually believing in unity, bringing together a very diverse group of people, to actually do something important. And you look at the left, you have Kamala Harris and you got Tim Walz. They're basically from the exact same flawed hive mind, right? And then you have the right. You got Donald Trump, Bobby Kennedy Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, and J.D. Vance. A New York freaking billionaire, a poor kid from Ohio, an Army National Guard major still serving and former Democrat congresswoman, and a freaking Kennedy, man, a member of Camelot itself. And when you put it like that, man, it is impossible to miss. This is what unity actually looks like. This is real unity. And there sounds like there could actually be some more of it. It's almost like he's building a coalition of people that the corporatist left establishment really, really hates. And that's always a good sign, man. When all the right people hate you, you're over the target, right? And I'll keep going, guys. But if you're enjoying these videos, man, hit the like button and make sure to subscribe. It really, really does mean a lot to helping us grow.
I read that Elon Musk said that he would accept a position in your cabinet. Would that have to do with artificial intelligence?
So Elon and I have a great relationship. He's great. He is a totally unusual character. Do you know Elon at all?
I don't.
He's great. And he's smart. And we have to cherish our geniuses. We don't have too many of them, right? But he is a brilliant guy. And what he really would like to do is get involved in cutting some of the fat. And he does know how to do it. And he loves the country. It's just an amazing thing. We had a conversation the other day. You would know better than me, but I hear it had hundreds of millions of people. I heard it had the biggest audience that there's ever been. I mean, would you say that's a correct statement?
I would absolutely say
there's
that's
never been
correct.
anything even close. I heard 750 million people. I mean, numbers that are crazy. And yeah, he wants to be involved. Now, look, he's running big businesses and all that, so he can't really, I don't think he'd be for cabinet. I'd put him in the cabinet, absolutely, but I don't know how he could do that with all the things he's got going. But he can sort of, as the expression goes, consult with the country and give you some very good ideas. Like on AI, there's nobody knows more about it than Elon. Mm-hmm. It's a big, big thing. And he said it's very important. I mean, it's very important for the country. If we don't do it, China's going to do it, or somebody else, but most likely China. And China is working right now to develop massive electricity, a flood of electricity, a massive flood of electricity. And we don't, because we have people that they're not even thinking about that.
Yeah.
And we have to win this election. This election November 5th will be the most important day, in my opinion, in the history of our country. Because if our country goes the wrong way with this election, I think this country is doomed.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably right. Elon is probably too busy. I don't know how he does all the things that he actually does. But I have a feeling, man, that if he had the opportunity to play a real role in making American government more efficient, I think he'd do it in a heartbeat. I think he'd find a way to do it. But just zoom out and look at who these people are that are helping or inspiring Donald Trump. These are not establishment Republicans. And really, Trump hit on it earlier in the video. When you look at the only real failures of the first Trump administration, when you look at the policy flops, the staffing issues, even when you look at the real reason that the wall was not completed properly, every failure comes down to trusting the wrong people. And those people, the wrong people, were all the establishment Republicans. So I like this, man. I mean, this is the new look unity. This is actual unity. This is real unity. And it makes a lot more sense, man. Instead of finding people with the right letter before their name that are just going to pretend to agree with you, forget about party, forget about all the unimportant features, forget even about the things you disagree on. Build a coalition and work on the things that you can agree on together. I mean, honestly, this should scare the hell out of Democrats.
President Trump, to his credit, put out a hand, shook his hand and said, let's do this. Let's engage on ideas that matter. Let's engage on policies that matter. We don't have to agree on everything. This is not us being absorbed into the Trump camp by any measure. This is a partnership. This is a meeting of the minds with strong boundaries and expectations.
What are the boundaries?
Well, I think the thing is we don't overlap perfectly, but we do overlap on 5 key things, and we got to stick to those 5 key things. That is free speech, very important. Anti-war, ending these endless wars we're in overseas, putting that money back into America, putting Americans first, really trying to figure out how to create stability in our foreign policy. Chronic health, obviously, this is the biggest one. We want families to know that they are going to be met with credible health care, honest healthcare, and no more censorship. That's a really, really big one. So as long as we stay within these core principles of this coalition, we're going to do great things, and I have great optimism.
2 concerns. One is just, something to note. The other one is something to chew on for the rest of our time. There's something to note is, the Republicans aren't talking about it now, but they always had as a signature move when it comes to health care, removing the ACA in favor of basically nothing. Right now, they've gotten quiet about it because it's become so unpopular as people have gotten more and more access to health care. But I don't know that Trump is anywhere near what Bobby and I have spoken about when it comes to access to health care and stuff. They want to privatize it in a way that is not necessarily going to be good for regular families. Give me a quick take on that.
Well, you know what we do agree on? We agree on farming. We agree on fresh food. We agree on clean water. We agree on school choice. We agree on the power of sunshine and getting kids outside being kids. And, I guarantee you, Chris, that if we focus on just cleaning up our food supply, we're going to need a lot less dollars, especially government dollars, dedicated to healthcare.
I'm with you.
$4.6 trillion right.
How can you not just freaking love that answer? I mean, it's honestly, it's the only way things ever have a chance of working, man. There is zero chance you'll ever agree with anyone ever in your whole life on every single issue. And I think my best example of that is, the book banning fantasy of the left. There are people that no matter what you say to them, no matter what you show them, they're going to pretend to believe that taking age inappropriate and sometimes legitimately pornographic books out of schools is some sort of unconstitutional Nazi-like book ban, right? Those people are crazy, right? But maybe, man, maybe, just maybe, that they'll agree with you that our food supply needs work, that the health of our children is important, and that we should be looking for a way to not engage in forever wars. I mean, you have to find a way to work together, right? Because the way it looks right now, if you don't want porn in schools, for example, then nothing you say on any topic ever can be listened to or evaluated individually. I mean, that's just how the left sees it. That's what so many people on the left have actually become. But there are people, man, that actually see it. There's lifelong Democrats that are waking up and realizing that they don't even recognize the party that they vote for. I mean, you have fellow Democrats in the streets chanting anti-Semitic craziness. They got a nominee that was installed with backroom negotiations after she literally played a key role in propping up an incompetent and completely cognitive failing Joe Biden. And every bit of that has been all protected and all aided by a co-opted corrupt media. And believe it or not, there are liberals that do not support any of that.
Let me just be perfectly clear about this. I think the modern Democratic Party is an existential threat to the Republic. And although I am a Democrat, I've been a Democrat my whole life, the party that I see in front of me today is literally the inverse of the party I signed up for. This is now the party of war. This is the party of racism. This is the party of censorship. I don't recognize this party. There is no conceivable scenario in which I would vote for Kamala Harris. I just simply will not do it. Am I open to voting for Trump? I am. I'm especially open to it if he is partnered with Bobby Kennedy, because what that tells me is that my values, which are a much closer match for Bobby's, are represented in that administration. And that's really what I want. I want a coalition to redefine American politics because, frankly, we have a long-standing problem with corruption, which has now turned into something else with the modern Democratic Party. But we need to rethink the way we govern ourselves so that corruption is not the dominant force. And a coalition is the way we're going to do that.
Without a doubt, man. I mean, a coalition, it's the only way to go. It's the only way not to just get it done, but it's the only way you really have a chance at even thinking about getting it done. It's the only way you got a chance of even talking about getting it done. I mean, this guy's absolutely right, man. Corruption really has become the most dominant force in American politics. And it's been that way for a very, very long time, man. I mean, Dwight Eisenhower was working against it and warning us against it in speeches in the 1950s. I mean, it's amazing to me, man, that so many of us still pretend not to notice it. But in my opinion, I think we're easily the most corrupt Western nation. And honestly, I don't think that we're really any less corrupt than places like Venezuela. We just do it prettier. We do it while beating you over the head with the word democracy and all kinds of other pretty words that no one can really explain. It's a good grift when you think about it, but he's right, man. A coalition is the only way. Republicans, conservatives, Democrats, competing candidates, libertarians. I'm telling you, man, when the libertarians join the team, things are getting serious. That's when you know that this isn't left versus right anymore. This isn't Democrat versus Republican. It is now right versus wrong. It's now literally everyone against the corrupt establishment.
Like watching A Clockwork Orange. I'm like this, Vivek, watching what's coming out, whether it's raising the rate on corporate taxes or going up to, 45%, close to, on capital gains for certain individuals. It's a lot of populism, but most people that defend it say, she doesn't really mean it. It'll never happen.
Yeah, so that's the irony here, Joe. And first of all, I agree with my friends at the Washington Post who observed that if you don't want your opponent to tag you as a communist, then maybe your first policy should not be a bunch of price controls in the United States. We've seen price controls fail in every other major country that's tried it. Argentina, Venezuela, under Hugo Chavez, under Nicolas Maduro. The irony in Venezuela is that you actually saw undernourishment increase tenfold over the same period where they enacted price controls in the food industry, in the grocery industry. Yet that's exactly what they've proposed here. And I do think that the fact that this was her signature economic unveiling says a lot about where her vision actually is. To borrow Tim Walz's expression, Joe, if I may, it is just plain weird for them to focus even on the grocery sector if they were going to implement price controls, because this is a sector in which you look at the profit margins of Kroger or Albertsons. You're looking at 2%, 1% profit margins. I saw that interview that Elizabeth Warren did with you, and I respectfully disagree with her. But she even brought up examples like Kraft Heinz or Cal-Maine. The reality is their profit margins are lower today than they were in 2015 to 2016. So, yes, it is a just plain weird fixation.
That's spot on. It is like watching A Clockwork Orange, man. You're not allowed to blink, and everything you see them doing to your country is going to ruin Beethoven for the rest of eternity. And things really are, man. They are finally just coming down to common sense versus insanity. You know, the left has gone too far, and they plan to go so much farther, right? They plan to go so far that people have finally had enough, and they're finally waking up, man. And I really do believe, man, that more and more people are waking up every single day. But that's all I got, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you haven't already, be a part of our growth, man. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.